If you are somebody who is trying to figure out how to eat a high protein meal, you're not quite sure how to get that much protein in per day, watch this video. I'm going to show you how to do a little bit of meal prep to help you get to whatever it is that your goal of protein is. So what I'm going to do is show you how I meal prep. What I do is I prep for about 3 days at a time, mostly because I don't want to eat 4-day-old, 5-day-old leftovers. And second of all, start getting into some food safety issues there. So we're gonna do 3 meals today that we're gonna meal prep for the next 2 or 3 days or so. So first we'll start with breakfast. We'll do some Greek yogurt with chia seeds, some berries. You could do overnight oats. Second, we'll do some taco salad turkey meat. And then third, we'll do some chicken with some vegetables. So just a couple tips before you get started with meal prep. First of all, figure out what it is that you're going to meal prep. So if you're going to eat 150 grams of protein per day, it's a lot easier to eat 150 grams of protein if you break that up into 5 separate meals per day. So if you eat 30 grams of protein per meal, that can be breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then 2 snacks in between. They're super easy to get that, okay? Second of all, make sure that you have your sink. My sink is over here. Your sink is free and clear of dirty dishes, and your dishwasher is open and ready to go for you to put stuff in. So you can very easily clean as you're meal prepping and then put all of your dishes in the dishwasher. I have a picture. I actually took it 10 years ago today when I was first learning how to meal prep, and my kitchen was a freaking mess. So I'll share that picture here. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll pick. When you start your meal prep, you're going to pick your protein first. And I have this list here, Whole Foods list. This is something that our Operation Fit AF members get. It is a list of protein, animal-based protein, plant-based protein. We've got vegetables, carbs, fruits, fats, healthy fats, condiments, herbs, spices, all that good stuff, all here in one sheet. You mix and match and you come up with your meal plan. So you start with your protein. So when we say we prioritize protein, start with your protein. So our protein sources today are going to be some Greek yogurt, and then I've got some pre-sliced chicken, and then I've got some 93% lean ground turkey. So I'm going to start the meat first just because it takes a little bit longer to get started. So first what I'm going to do is start with the ground turkey. I have this nice big dish here that I use, this big pan that I use, because it will fit the 3 pounds of turkey. So I just get that pan warmed up just a little bit. I'm gonna set this out of the way. Get that pan warmed up. I'll take some Pam olive oil cooking spray and just spray it to help with the meat sticking to the pan. And then you just cut it open. Again, this is 3 pounds of meat. So I will get for myself, I will get probably 3 meals out of this, maybe 4, just depends. Just depends on how much I eat. Sometimes I will eat 4 ounces of turkey. Sometimes I will eat 6 or even 8 ounces of turkey. Just depends on what I need to get for protein for the day. What we're going to do here, though, is we're going to prep this into 3 separate meals. I'll show you how I'm going to do that, though. So we're going to start that turkey meat. I've got this taco seasoning here that I use. This is McCormick 30% less sodium taco seasoning. Actually, like if you look at the sodium content, is 250 milligrams. This is where marketing really comes in. It's 250 milligrams of sodium on the 30% lower sodium. So I don't know if you added 30% to that, what would that be, closer to 300 milligrams of sodium? I don't have a regular one here, but it's really not that much less sodium, but every little bit does help. So at least for me, my goals are to eat lower sodium foods, except for days that I'm hiking. I need the sodium. So anyhow, I've got 2 taco seasoning packs here for 3 pounds of turkey meat. Now it says in here 1 pack is good for like 1 pound of turkey meat, I think, but whatever, I use 2. It works good for me. So I'm gonna let that get started here. And then the second thing that I'm going to cook is this chicken breast. It's already sliced up. You pay a little bit more when it's already sliced up. That's okay. When weeks that you're busy, you've got a lot going on, sometimes getting things pre-sliced for you, pre-sliced vegetables, pre-sliced fruits, pre-prepared meats, every little bit helps. You pay a little bit more for it, but you're paying for the convenience, okay? So this one I did have frozen. I unthawed it. I'm originally from Wisconsin. We say unthawed. So I am one of those people, I eat a lot of chicken, and something that I hear a lot from our Operation Fit AF members is I can't eat any more freaking chicken. Like, how much chicken can you eat? First of all, chicken's, it's easy. It's an easy protein to make. You can dress it up in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different options that you have to make your chicken. So one thing that I really like to do is you can change it up by the sauces, the spices. I'll show you a couple of those here in a second. Let's get it going though first. So what I like to do, I made a lot of chicken over the years. I've tried a lot of different ways of making it. I baked it, make it in the Ninja oven, the convection oven. I've made it in my regular oven. I've done it in the air fryer. I've done it in the Instapot. The way that I find the best, that I like the best, is I put it in a frying pan, a saute pan, put some water in there, put the chicken in there, and just kind of let it boil, saute. All right, so you're not like totally covering it in water, but I let it just absorb all of that water. For me, that's the way I like it. I like the way it tastes. I've even tried the sous vide, which is where you cook food underneath water. It's sealed, but it's cooked underwater. Let's see if I can get this burner to ignite here. Okay. Yay, we got it ignited. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to let that pan heat up just a little bit. I like to add a little of the pan spray in there just to add it so it doesn't stick. I'm gonna add some water in there, but so it shouldn't stick too bad, but I don't know, whatever. It works well for me. So I'm gonna take this chicken. I don't like touching raw meat. I think it's disgusting. When I was in high school, I worked at a grocery store, and I always hated, like, we used to wrap up meat in butcher paper, and then when I'd have to scan it, ooh, just touching it was so disgusting. So anyhow, I use these. I don't like to touch raw meat. So what I'm gonna do then is just place this in the pan. The meat's still a little bit frozen, so I'm gonna probably turn down the temperature just a little bit, cook it a little bit slower. Yeah, it's still frozen a little bit here, so kind of breaking it apart. I know you can't really see it, but you get the gist of what I'm doing here. All right, and so I'm gonna add a little bit of water to the pan. And I'm not adding a ton of water, I'm just adding enough to kind of cover the bottom of the pan just a little bit. And then what I'll do is I'll take this cover here and then just cover up the meat, let that sit. My burner's being a little bit weird today. Okay, so we're gonna check in on the turkey meat here. I'm gonna open it up here just a little bit. I bought one of these things. I always see like the influencers and stuff using this, but I don't know. It works okay. I use a regular old spatula. It works just fine. If you go to heathermonthly.com/meal prep, I've got all sorts of links there for some of the supplies, the sauces, the condiments, some of the kitchen gadgets that I've got. I need to add more to it. I love the kitchen gadgets. I have all of the kitchen gadgets. So we've got the chicken going, we've got the turkey going. The next thing that we will make is some Greek yogurt. So there's not really much that you have to do to prep Greek yogurt. So this is for 3/4 of a cup. You get, let's see here, 17 grams of protein. So I might add that up into like a full cup to get a little bit of additional protein. The other thing that you could do is you could add a scoop of protein powder to it if you would like. If you didn't want to add more yogurt, you could add more protein to it. So some people like to make overnight oats. I personally don't because I have psoriasis, and oatmeal is something that triggers my psoriasis. I've always been able to treat my psoriasis, manage it through my diet. I've been lucky in that sense. I was diagnosed with it in 1982. And back in the day, the treatment for it was I went to the dermatologist's office and he put me in a tanning bed. That was the treatment back in the day. But I have figured out how to manage it through my diet. Certain foods do trigger it for me, so I stay away from oatmeal just because it does trigger it for me. So if you wanted to make overnight oats, here's what you would do. I like to take these glass Pyrex containers here. Got these glass Pyrex containers. I even got these small mason jars. I just got these in the canning section at the grocery store. So you would just take your old-fashioned oats. That's all these are, like nothing fancy, none of the instant oats or anything here. And you could take like a 1/4 cup, you could take a 1/2 cup, whatever you wanted to do. Put it in the bottom of the container, okay? And then you can place your yogurt on top of the oats. And that is going to, you can let that soak then in the refrigerator. That's just overnight. Even if you prep this the night before for the next morning, it's gonna be golden. You don't need to do it 2 or 3 days in advance. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a full cup of yogurt in here. And again, I'm not doing oats just because it's not for me in my program. Now this is where it's nice to have your kitchen sink ready. I'm just go rinse it off. I'll check in here just a little bit on the turkey. So this is where multitasking really comes in handy. Once you get doing this is why we're only doing 3 meals today. You kind of get the hang of, you know, how to make multiple meals at the same time. Because you got to watch, especially if you're cooking stuff, you got to watch it, you know. The chicken's looking good. I still got some water in there. The turkey, I'll probably add a little bit of water to here in just a moment. The 93% lean, you can get the 99% lean turkey. That's super dry. So, all right. So what I've got here, you could prep. So for 3 days, what you would do is you would prep 3 of these containers. Okay. I'm only going to do 1 today, only because I'm leaving the house for the week. So I don't want to make these just right now. But you would do is just put a cup, put your oatmeal in there. What I like to do is add chia seeds. Okay, we got these organic chia seeds here. Chia seeds are incredible in fiber. There's some good fat in there. There's 5 grams of protein and 2.5 tablespoons. They're just all around good for you. So what I like to do is just to add a tablespoon, whatever you'd like to do. You know, this is an option here on the Whole Foods list here. It's a good fat that you can add to your foods. So what I do is I just take 1 tablespoon, sprinkle it up in there. You could even put it on the bottom, like if you did the oats, you could put it at the bottom so it just soaks in even more, but just having this like this will be just fine in the refrigerator. And then just cover that up and you can let that soak then overnight in your refrigerator. This is not going on there very well. So the other thing that I like to do is I like to add a handful of berries to my yogurt. So what I would do is just stack this together in my refrigerator. So I've got everything right there. When it's time to eat, I don't have to move stuff around in the refrigerator, try to find it. I might add about half of this size of container of raspberries to this. I'm not going to add it now though, because I don't want it to soak up the moisture and get soggy. All right, so our turkey is going good here. And you know, you got to get the obligatory Operation Fit AF drink. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to the turkey. And this is because it does get a little bit dry. And then I'm going to add the seasoning, and that'll help with the seasoning just a little bit. I'll let it kind of saute. I add in about 1/2 cup of water. It's just because that is the texture of how I like it, okay? So I'm just going to keep grinding this up. I think this is where this thing comes in handy, is like you can just on it. Chicken is still going. I should probably rotate it. We're going to keep this turkey moving. Now I'm going to add in the seasoning. The turkey is just about browned, not quite all the way. But I'm going to add this, and then now that I've got the water in there, I can kind of mix in the taco seasoning. I just toss this in the trash right away. I just kind of let it do its thing here, mixing it up, just browning it all the way, and then stirring it so that the taco seasoning gets on the browned turkey. Okay, so now I'm going to check in on the chicken. And I used this on raw chicken, so I'm going to throw this in the sink and grab a new one. Just gonna check in on the chicken, and it's looking pretty good. I know you can't really see it, but it's just about finished. Some of the inside pieces still need to cook a little bit, so I'm gonna add just a little bit more water and let it sit for a couple more minutes, not very long. The reason I like the water is because as it's cooking, it's just absorbing the water. So then when I go to reheat the chicken in the microwave, it's not super dry and ugh, right? So I'm just going to add just a scotch of water. Put that back on. Let that do its thing. So now we've got breakfast prepared. Overnight oats with some chia seeds and some berries. So you saw how quick that was to just put those together. You could do 3 of these real quick. So 3 days of meal prep, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You're golden. Love it. All right, I'm going to set this right here. It's always nice to just kind of, when I'm meal prepping, usually what I'll do is just turn on some YouTube videos. You could watch this YouTube video, cook with me. I like to listen to podcasts, turn on some music, turn on a movie. I don't have a TV in my kitchen. I really should put a TV in my kitchen, but I just take my computer, put it somewhere that it's easy. I can watch stuff, listen to stuff, whatever. You know, I try to get in and out, do it quick, under an hour or so. One other thing that you can do, if you would like, for meal prep, it's another really super simple way to meal prep, is that if you plan out your meals for the week, you plan out dinner for Monday, dinner for Tuesday, dinner for Wednesday, things like that. When you're making dinner on Monday night, make enough that you can reheat leftovers tomorrow. So Monday night, reheat leftovers on Tuesday, for lunch, okay? That's like bulk cooking, you can do it that way. So like maybe you'll make something like a chili or lasagna or a casserole dish or something in bulk. Then what you can do is you can just kind of munch on that throughout the week. I like to do that with chili. I like to do that with lasagna, with different pasta dishes, things like that I can just kind of eat on. Like I said, though, after like 3 or 4 days, I'm a little like, I don't know. So our turkey is looking like it's just about finished here. So what I'm gonna do with this, now this is taco meat. You could do this with fajita seasoning. You could use bison, you could use ground beef. You got a lot of different options, got the whole food list here. And then, so you've added your meat and now you've added your spices to it. So what I'm gonna do is I'll take these larger Pyrex containers and I'll measure out, I'm gonna measure out about 5 ounces of ground turkey in one of these. So you've got a scale. If you are on any sort of body transformation journey, you need a scale and you need measuring cups. You need to measure your food. It's way too easy to just start dumping too much food in, especially when you get things like peanut butter and some of these other foods that it's very easy to eat a lot of volume of them. Protein is not as big of a deal, but yeah, some of these other foods like peanut butter is one of them. All right, so I'm gonna measure out this in ounces, just how I do it. And so what I'm gonna do, I tiered it so that it's at 0. And I'm just gonna put in some turkey meat here. I would normally just, if I wasn't doing this on camera, I would just turn my back and do it right here. But so we're at like 5.2 ounces right here. So I'm gonna call that good. So this is 5 ounces of ground turkey. Now that's what I'm gonna meal prep. So I will let that sit here and cool down, okay? Now I've got obviously 3 pounds of cooked turkey meat in here. I could take, 3 of these if I'm gonna prep for 3 days. I could take 3 of these and put 5 ounces in each one of them, okay? That's 5 ounces, 5 ounces, okay? So I've got more left in here, but we're gonna do 3 meals for right now. So the rest of this I would just put in another container. I'm gonna check on that chicken, looking like it's done. So I've got the chicken is shut off now. So what I'm gonna do with this turkey meat, I'm gonna let it cool down. I'll put the cover on the Pyrex containers like that. And then they will just get stacked in the refrigerator. So when I'm ready to eat, what I will do is I've got shredded lettuce, add shredded lettuce. I'm not gonna add it now because the lettuce is gonna absorb the moisture from the turkey meat. I don't want that to happen. That's gonna get soggy and nasty. And then I've got taco sauce that I will add to it. I also like the tapatio sauce. You can add Tabasco sauce, Cholula, whatever hot sauce you like. That's just what I like is the tapatio. I'll add that to it. And then what I like to do is take just plain Greek yogurt. This is the 0% fat Greek yogurt. I generally try to get 1 or 2%. This is just what we had at the grocery store. Especially cottage cheese too. I generally try to get 1 or 2% milk fat. I'm from Wisconsin. I don't like the whole no fat cheese and all that stuff. Like I'll build that into my diet so that, and fat, you gotta have some fat. It's good for you. Then I've also got these tomatoes here, these Roma tomatoes here. So when I'm ready to make this, then what I'll just do is I'll throw in the lettuce. I'll throw in some tomatoes. You could get the cherry tomatoes and you could slice those up in there as well. I use Greek yogurt in place of sour cream. That's the purpose for the Greek yogurt. It does take a little bit of getting used to. It adds a little bit of extra protein too, but if you like sour cream, that's fine. Use the sour cream, just build it into your plan for the day. And then I add the taco sauce, I add the taco seasoning. You could, if you wanted to, you could add some like corn chips I would like crumble them up, put them up on the top. I wouldn't prep them in here because anything you put in here is gonna absorb the moisture of the meat, okay? So basically what I'm gonna do then is let this cool down. Then these get stacked in the refrigerator, okay? And then all this stuff gets put in the refrigerator right next to it, okay? Now, if you're somebody, I do work from home. If you're somebody that you need to leave for the day and you're gonna like reheat this at, like say you're gonna go take this to work with you, what you could do is you've got the meat in one container and then in another container, you could put the lettuce, the tomatoes, the yogurt, the sauces. You could put all of that together into one container. You might do the lettuce separately so it doesn't absorb that moisture and get soggy, but you could do that. So then the night before, all you got to do is just put it all together. And then the morning you leave for work, you throw it in your bag and you go. Okay. So that is going to be meal number 2 is your taco salad. Take a drink from the OFAF mug. I'm on OFAF 48, Operation Fit AF 48 years old. We're almost to OFAF 49, Operation Fit AF at 49 years old. So we got a lot of people here in part of Operation Fit AF that are in their 50s, 60s. We've even got some people in their 70s doing some amazing freaking things. I love to see it. So now we got the chicken. Well, first of all, I guess I got the rest of the turkey here. I can portion that out into different containers. What I'm going to do is just put it all into one container, and I will just portion it out as I eat it. Like I said, I do work from home, so I'll just, prep it real quick as I'm making it. It is nice to have these ready to go though, especially on days where, even though I am at home all day, I have days where it's like I literally go from one meeting to the next. It's like close the Zoom session and then open up the next one right away. Like maybe I have time to go to the bathroom in between there. So it is really handy to just grab and go and have meals ready to go. So one thing about chicken is that it's bland. There's not a lot of flavor to it. Like with the ground turkey, you add a little bit of seasonings to it, okay? So there's a lot of different things that you can do with seasonings. So we got this Kinder's, this is taco seasoning, but this Kinder's brand, I really like this Kinder's brand. There's all sorts of different options. We got taco seasoning, caramelized onion butter. There's just a regular like salt, pepper, and garlic blend. And then I've got this brown butter and roasted garlic blend. And then, let's see, we've also got just a regular garlic butter, okay? These are amazing. I love these. The other thing that I really like as far as seasonings go is the Flavor God. The Flavor Gods that I have sitting right here are sweet. I have cheesecake, pumpkin pie, vanilla waffle cone, and gingerbread cookie. Probably not good for chicken. Might taste a little weird on chicken, but I do have some other Flavor God flavors. One here is just plain old cheese. I've got ranch dressing. So there's all sorts of different Flavor God flavors that you can put on your chicken as well. These are all just like pre-mixed things that you don't have to be like, well, how much paprika am I putting on and oregano and onion powder? Like it's all just pre-mixed good portions for you. The other thing that works really good for seasoning for chicken is Mrs. Dash. This one's just a regular table blend, but there's all sorts of different seasonings. Mrs. Dash, onion and herb. I've got extra spicy. These are nice because these are salt-free. That's what I do like about the Mrs. Dash. So as you can see here, I have a plethora of spices, and I do need to clean out my spice cabinet. So we're just gonna close that. I like spices. I'm a little bit addicted to the spices, okay? So with the chicken, you can change it up using spices. The other thing you can do is change it up using sauces. So some of the sauces that I like, this one is the Taste Flavor Company Sweet Honey Mustard. There's a bunch of different kinds of flavors, but these are a nice sauce. There is 10 calories per tablespoon and 2 grams of added sugar. So that's one thing you want to look at with sauces is the sugar content. You get things like ketchup, tomato sauces. Some of those sauces can have a lot of sugar in them. That's what you really want to pay attention to. This one right here is Walden Farms. I don't like this particular one. It's street taco sauce. You can see it's not even opened because I had another one and I just didn't like it. But Walden Farms has some good sauces that I think it's kind of something, just try it and see what you like. 1 tablespoon doesn't have any calories at all, but obviously if you put in like a full cup, there's going to be some calories there. There's no sugars. There's 110 milligrams of sodium, no protein. Basically, it's saying there's nothing in it, but once you get to a certain point, there's certainly something in it. But Walden Farms is another brand. Just check it out. You might find some that you like, some that you don't. I personally I'm not a huge fan of it, but you might, so I'm just offering it up. And then this G. Hughes brand is really good too. There's some different barbecue sauces, marinades. This is pineapple ginger marinade. I haven't tried this one yet. You can see it's not open yet, but this is a good brand too. There's barbecue sauces. I'm not a big barbecue flavor person, but barbecue sauce is another thing that if you are into barbecue sauces, make sure that you're paying attention to that sugar content. This one got 5 calories per tablespoon, no added sugar. And it's basically no fat, no protein, 120 milligrams of sodium. So make sure to read the labels on these sauces. You'll see there's a lot of times fat and sugar. All right, now with the chicken, what I'm going to do is I'm going to portion this up into a couple of different containers. I've got these are just like the Snapware things, are plastic from Costco. I'm just going to put the chicken in there. And then I've got some bulk green beans. This is a lot of, I like green beans. So I got a lot of green beans. So with green beans, green vegetables, so like broccoli, spinach, things like that, I don't necessarily measure it. I just like, I eat it, okay? So I just got this out of the freezer, so they're frozen together. So all I'm gonna do is just put some green beans in the bottom of the container here, and then I'll put the chicken on top of it, throw it in the refrigerator, and then when I'm ready to eat it, I'll add whatever seasoning or sauce I'm in the mood for, throw it in the microwave, warm it up, and there's my meal. And I just realized there's a resealable thing here that I didn't see it. So we're gonna figure that out in a minute. So now what I'll do is use my scale. I'm gonna tear it out so it's on 0. Remember that from high school science class, right? And same thing, I'll do 4 ounces of chicken here. 4 ounces of chicken has about 30 grams of protein in it. So this was already pre-cut up from the store. You know, if you were cooking just like a regular chicken breast, you could cut it up while it's raw. If you're like me and you don't like touching raw meat, you could cook it and then cut it up. So that 4 ounces right there. And so I've got probably another 4 ounces here that I'll put into another container with some green beans. Okay, so now what I do is I've got this. Then now if I were leaving the house, I needed to like grab and go right now, I would just put a seasoning on there. You could even put a seasoning on it as you're cooking it. If you just wanted to, like, I've got 2 servings of chicken here. Maybe one day I want to do taco seasoning. The next day I want to do garlic butter. That gives you the option to, just change it up a little bit. This is where if you get sick of eating the same thing over and over and over again, try different seasoning, try different sauces, try different vegetables with it, try preparing it a different way. That's where you're really gonna find that variety, okay? So I got this here. So I'll go ahead and make another one. And so I know I said I was gonna do 3 days. So I have 3 containers here, but guess what? I don't have enough chicken here, I don't think, for 3 days, okay? I think this is probably another 4 or 5 ounces of chicken. So whatever's here is I'm just gonna use. This is just me doing this for a long time. I can kind of eyeball things. I can kind of figure it out, how much is there. Yeah, this is about 4.5 ounces of chicken. So I don't have enough to make the 3rd meal. So now all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, I was trying to meal prep for the day for 3 days. Now I don't have enough food. Or you end up with too much, like I did with the turkey. I've got too much. So now what I can do is, obviously I could make just one more meal with the turkey if I wanted to. Another option would be that I've got frozen salmon, frozen cod, frozen haddock. I got all sorts of frozen fish in the freezer right now. What I could do is do the same thing, but I would probably put it in aluminum foil because then I could cook it all together. What I would do is take the foil, throw some vegetables in the bottom, maybe a little bit of oil just so it doesn't stick. Put the frozen fish in there, wrap it up, and then you can cook it as you need it. So I'll make another video showing how to do that. But now it's like, okay, I didn't buy enough chicken. What do I do? Well, thankfully over here, I've got more turkey, so I can make another meal with turkey. So because it's already got the taco seasoning on there, I might be like, okay, well, I'm gonna have this with, maybe some rice instead of I'm obviously probably not gonna have it with something sweet or something because it's got taco seasoning on it. So you can make that adjustment. This is something that as you do it more frequently, you'll get a little bit better at it, you'll get faster at it, and a little bit cleaner at it. Remember that picture, from 10 years ago? It was pretty bad, right? So meal number 1, you've got your Greek yogurt, overnight oats with chia seeds and some berries. You could even do, I've got raspberries here. You could even do something like blackberries for some variety, or even blueberries. Add a little bit of variety. That's one way that you can get some of that variety with your breakfast, is changing up the fruits. This is vanilla flavored Greek yogurt. You could do plain Greek yogurt. Just try out different options there. And then for lunch, I've got the taco meat already prepared, ready to go with my lettuce, Greek yogurt, taco seasoning, tomatoes, all going to be placed together in my refrigerator so that when I open up the door, I don't have to hunt around and look for it and get distracted by other things that might be in the refrigerator that might be something more that I want to grab. So organizing your refrigerator is a key part to this here. And then the third meal is going to be the chicken with some green beans. You could do any sort of vegetable that you wanted to, put it in the bottom there. And then when I'm ready to eat this, what I'll do, open it up, add in my seasoning, whatever one I wanted to choose from, your sauce, mix it all up, throw it in the microwave, got my meal, okay? So you could also add to this, and I don't have it because I didn't buy it, because I even posted about this in my Facebook group that I forgot to buy potatoes. But what I would do here also is to add some carbohydrates is you could buy some like baby red potatoes. You could roast those up, put those in here as well. Even some rice, some couscous, something like this. On the list of the whole foods that we've got in Operation Fit AF, we've got a lot of different options here for your different starches or your different carbs. You know, some sweet potatoes, you could buy up some sweet potatoes, roast those up in the oven as you're cooking the meat, throw that in there, okay? So this is just, a couple of different strategies. Hopefully you found this helpful. I do have some other meal prep videos here on YouTube. I will be making more. A lot of you have requested these types of videos. I can see that you really enjoy these types of videos. I want to get into the tactics of like how I do this. I'm 10 weeks out from a photo shoot, 27 weeks out from a bodybuilding competition, and just kind of showing you how I do this. I eat the same foods. It's just the quantities might change based on whether I'm trying to build a little bit of muscle or I'm trying to lose some body fat or whatever it is that I'm trying to do. So I hope you found this helpful. If you like this video, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, send it to somebody who you might think finds it helpful. I also have a nutrition guide where it helps you kind of come up with this idea of like how to build a plate, right? So how do you build a plate? You got a plate of food, like what do you put on it and how much, okay? So if you go to heathermonthly.com/nutrition, I've got that guide for you there. It's free. You can download it, read through it. It's got some really great information in there about figuring out just like, what am I supposed to eat and how much am I supposed to eat? So yeah, talk to y'all soon.